When your house is a mess and you're feeling the stress, what you need is a friend in your ear. Start the job and you'll see it through with Ronnie talking to you. Make the chaos disappear. Clean with Me podcast is here.
Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I am going to talk you through a quick morning home reset, and I'm also going to be answering a listener question. It's time to gear up for your cleaning session. Maybe you need to freshen up for the day, or get your house smelling fresh, or take the trash out and reline it. And if you'll be home for a while, you might want to start some laundry, but I definitely don't recommend starting a load of laundry if you're leaving and going to work for 8 hours somewhere. But definitely when I was working from home, a lot of times I'd start a load of laundry before work and then I'd do the laundry switch either on my first break or my lunch break, where I'd switch the laundry from the washer into the dryer. So maybe this is an appropriate time for you to start some laundry. Maybe it isn't. But while you're doing whatever you need to do to gear up for your cleaning session, I'll just let you know what the listener request was and go from there. It says, I would love a quick episode for working moms who have a chaotic morning and need a simple morning routine. And then in parentheses, she put 10 to 15 minutes. So once you've geared up for the cleaning session, I am going to talk you through a morning routine that takes approximately 15 minutes. But of course, this will apply whether you work outside the home, from home, or your full-time job is being a stay-at-home mom. It's always a good idea to start your day off productively, whether you're going to be home all day or not. If you've been listening to this show, you know that recently I've been promoting a daily 5 method, with number 1 being a quick pickup of your entire house. This might take 5 to 10 minutes since this is going to be a quick routine. In a few minutes, I'm going to be having you do a 5-minute whole house pickup just to tidy up your house. And then number 2 of the daily 5 is cleaning the kitchen. So our before work routine is going to consist of a 5-minute pickup and a quick kitchen rescue. Okay. But in the course of the day, the idea would be to also complete numbers 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Number 3 would be to sweep and vacuum high traffic areas of your home. Sweep and or vacuum, I should say. Number 4 is to either deep clean an area or do a deep cleaning task throughout. For example, you could focus on deep cleaning your bedroom, or you could focus on cleaning your baseboards throughout the house, for example. Then number 5 is laundry. If you're overwhelmed or behind, it's a good idea to do a complete load of laundry in the course of the day from start to finish, including the folding and putting away. That's a quick recap about the daily 5, but in this episode, we're going to be focusing on just steps 1 and 2, picking up and then working in the kitchen. Hopefully by now you've done whatever you needed to do to gear up for your cleaning session, whether that was taking out the trash and relining it, starting a load of laundry, or just freshening up and getting dressed and presentable for the day. The next thing I want you to do is a 5-minute pickup of your entire house. I'm not going to go into detail on that part because I wanted to talk to you while you're picking up your house about how creating a less chaotic morning starts the night before. And this is especially true if you're a mom who has a job. We're all working mothers, but meaning you work a job in addition to taking care of your family and home. It's always a good idea to knock out that 5-minute pickup and get your kitchen under control early on. Okay. Even if you had a good closing shift in the kitchen the night before, you've still got to clean up the breakfast mess or the coffee mess or the lunch making mess so that you can start your day with a clean slate. We're definitely going to do that, but right now, hopefully, you're going through your house picking up. I like to start at the front door and just go from there, cleaning the more visible areas first and then working my way to the back and, ending with making my bed and straightening up my bedroom. But as far as things that you want to do the night before, planning your outfit, this is a big one. Now, if you're the type of person whose strong suit is keeping your clothes organized, everything's in the proper drawer or, hanging up, then this part might not apply to you. But you don't want to wake up in the morning and not find that one pair of shoes that you wanted to wear to work or that outfit that you wanted to wear. Recently, if you've been listening to the show, I currently work 2 days at my kid's school part time. And I recently went to work in kind of wrinkled pants, which isn't really like me, but I failed to prepare the night before that morning. Another thing you ought to think about the night before is your lunch and or your breakfast on the go. Okay? Something that makes my mornings go smoothly is having the tumbler that I like to take my coffee to work in clean, making sure that that is clean the night before, making sure that I didn't leave it in my tote bag. Okay, one of my Stanleys has a screw on lid, and that's what I like to bring to work with coffee in it. So it's important that that gets washed and doesn't get just left in my tote bag. Speaking of tote bags, I'm really big on having, if you work outside the home, having your tote bag stocked with things like moisturizer, makeup, a brush, fingernail clippers. If you have natural nails, if like they get uneven. I mean, maybe you're one who files your nails, but I like to just take the clippers and clip them a little bit. I also like to have a bottle of water in my tote bag. If you're listening to this on a work morning, I recommend putting your tote bag on your launch pad, wherever that is. For me, I place the tote bag on the piano bench when I'm getting ready. That way I can make sure that I have my coffee, my lunch, my morning snack. You could also call it breakfast on the go. My purse goes into the tote bag, and my makeup's actually in my purse, so that might be how you do that. My system is the makeup and brush is in my purse, and then the tote bag typically has a bottle of water in it. But when I'm getting ready to leave, I like to pack the tote bag before I do other things like household things. I like to make sure that I've put my laptop into the tote bag. I put it in a laptop case, place it into the tote bag, put my purse in the tote bag, put my coffee tumbler in the tote bag. Usually I've already got bottled water in the bag. Definitely think about what you're going to be taking for lunch the night before. I'm not saying that you have to make a sandwich and then have it soggy, but make sure you have the ingredients. Or if you heat things up at work, make sure you've either purchased a frozen meal or placed some leftovers into a container. What I've been doing lately is after dinner, placing some leftovers into a container if I work the next day. Then I can just grab that, place it in the tote bag that's sitting on the piano bench as I'm getting ready in the morning. I'm going to give you about 1 more minute to get your house picked up. Don't forget to straighten up the bathrooms. I think often when we are tidying up our home, we start at the front door, we pick up the entryway, the living room, the kitchen floor, maybe if there are items in the kitchen floor that don't belong, the hallway, our bedroom. But sometimes we forget to straighten up the bathroom. Don't leave your clothes on the bathroom floor. Get those into the hamper. Hang up your towel. I mean, most of us don't feel like doing things like vacuuming and sweeping first thing in the morning before leaving. I know there are exceptions to that. My mother in law used to do all of her housework first thing in the morning, including vacuuming, and one of my grandmas was the same way. Okay, but a lot of us start our day a little slower. But what I do recommend that you do is make sure that you're down to dish zero in the kitchen and that you've given your countertops a swipe and done any spot sweeping or spot cleaning of the floor that's needed. This is a minimalist morning routine that's assuming you're going to do more later in the day or on your day off at least. Okay, it's time to start on any dishes that need to be washed. You should not have a lot of dishes to do in the morning. No judgment if you do, but if you let your dishes sit overnight and you're facing just a morning disaster, you're probably going to need to listen to a different episode that's more focused on that because this episode is assuming that maybe you left one item to soak overnight or you're cleaning up a breakfast mess or a lunch making mess. And hopefully, when you did that whole house pickup, you brought any dirty dishes to the kitchen. If not, now's the time to do that. And let's quickly deal with the dishes. Let's empty the drying rack. If you did all your dishes the night before and you didn't make a mess this morning, your morning dish routine would just be putting away the clean dishes. That sets the stage for people to put things either directly into the dishwasher or to wash them and put them into an empty drying rack throughout the day. So, dealing with dishes is a key step to a successful day as far as your housekeeping in the kitchen. And when you're doing well with your housekeeping in the kitchen, that kind of spreads to the rest of the house. It just does. It's such a springboard task to get your dishes done, even if that just means putting away clean dishes because you did a good closing routine or in the kitchen or your husband did dishes after dinner or your teenager did dishes after dinner. Great. Now let's put away the items that are clean in the dishwasher or drying rack. But some of you need to wash some items as well. I get it. Just be working on your dishes. Most of what I talk about on this show stems from personal experience, and I've just found since I'm not always perfect about having all of my work clothes hanging up and in drawers, and sometimes I'm living out of a clean laundry basket, that's why I'm telling you lay out your outfit the night before. Or here's another one. I tend to kick off my shoes in random places. My shoes could be under the desk in the office. They could be under my kitchen table. They could be in a bathroom. Sometimes I forget where I've left the shoes that go with the outfit I'm going to be wearing to work. That's why it's so great to spend a couple minutes the night before planning your outfit, including the shoes, socks, sweater, jacket, the whole outfit. If you can plan that the night before, that saves so much time. I can do my hair quickly. I have tricks for doing my hair, quickly when I don't have much time. Um, Doing my makeup in the car if someone else is driving, or if I'm the one driving, just doing kind of the bare minimum as far as makeup. And then, I'm taking more makeup with me to finish the job later, that sort of thing. The hair and makeup and brushing my teeth, that's the easy part. Even showering is easy for me. I tend to just give myself a deadline like, and a lot of times I take a bath in the morning more often than not, but I give myself a deadline like I need to be out of the bathtub 30 minutes before I leave. I get ready super fast once I'm out of the bath, and my hair tends to dry quickly. But what can hang me up is not finding the shoes I wanted to wear or the pants I wanted to wear. Okay, so I'm real big on that. The other thing is I don't have time to wash that tumbler, so that needs to be clean so I can just pour the coffee into it quickly. It's also easier for me to have either a store-bought frozen meal or leftovers that I've placed into a container that I can just grab. And I have grab and go snacks too that I like to bring. And you're not going to eat the exact same things as me. Be working on your dishes while I talk. Don't get sidetracked by the conversation. But individual yogurts, um, I like the Nature Valley granola bars that say protein. They don't taste like protein, so to speak, like some other protein bars. I often, bring an apple, a banana, an orange. Not all of the above, but one or two fruits. And don't get me wrong, sometimes when I'm being real frugal, I will just buy a bigger container of yogurt and I'll put together like my own little parfait in a container where I'm adding maybe some walnuts and a little bit of honey and maple syrup or a little bit of raspberry or blackberry jam. But the point is planning ahead, whether it's putting leftovers in a container or shopping for some frozen meals that you can quickly toss into your tote bag. Once your dishes are done, it's time to give your countertops and stovetop a swipe, sweep up any crumbs that ended up on the floor from, the lunch prep or the breakfast prep. But my point about chaotic mornings for working moms, because that was the question that I'm addressing in this episode, is to plan your outfit, your food, whether that includes coffee that you're bringing, a breakfast on the go, a lunch, or all of the above. Think about all that the night before and make it easier on yourself. When you do that, you're more likely to have time to spend that 15 minutes on your house where you pick up for 5 minutes and then spend 10 minutes in the kitchen, putting away clean dishes or washing dishes or giving your countertops and stovetops a swipe. If you're struggling to find the right shoes or the right clothes, you're not going to have time to do that quick morning home reset that can set you up for a successful day of homemaking in addition to your job. I'm not saying that working moms have to clean before they leave for work. I'm just answering this question for the person who wanted to do these certain things. Definitely when I was working at home, though, I like to do certain things like emptying my drying rack while making my coffee and, doing a quick pickup. I'll be honest though, I don't really do housework on Tuesdays and Thursdays before going to work. But what I do, on my best days is plan ahead the night before as far as having that tumbler clean, having a plan for things that I'm going to bring. And another key, I think, that would make it possible to do a little housework before leaving for work is getting that tote bag packed, getting dressed to the shoes, brushing your teeth, doing all of those things first before you do that little home reset. When you run out of time and you need to quit working in the kitchen, you've already got the tote bag ready. You're already wearing your lanyard or whatever that's required for work. That's another thing I do when I'm getting ready for work. As soon as I get dressed, I put the lanyard around my neck so I don't forget to bring that. I stock my tote bag as soon as possible. If I do something else like call and pay a bill over the phone or something, I know that I'm ready to walk out the door before I tackle that task. And I think the same would apply to doing a home reset before work, being ready for work before you tackle that task so that you don't end up being late getting out the door. I hope you got a lot done during this episode. By the way, I am going to be addressing another question that's kind of a compound question in the upcoming bonus episode. I'm going to be touching on homeschooling and preparing your house for a baby when you don't have a lot of space. But if those topics don't apply to you, don't worry. I'm just going to quickly rattle off my best tips for that within the episode. But there's going to be something in that episode for everybody. If you're not already supporting the show financially, There will be a link in the episode description to my website, which is cleanwithmepodcast.com. You can subscribe to bonus episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, which is that purple app that came with your iPhone if you have one, or you could also access the episodes through Patreon. Special thanks to those who are already supporting the show. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.